The Chinese frigate roars past Fitzgerald's bow at 32 knots, close enough that wake hits like a liquid fist. The 29th of January, 2026, 1,420 hours. South China Sea, 85 nautical miles west of Scarborough Shoal. USS Fitzgerald maintains steady 12-knot transit through international waters. Freedom of navigation operation proceeding by the book. Then the gray warship appears from the south. Panned, Type 54. A frigate Yun approaching fast too fast. Excessive velocity obvious even at distance, white weight spreading wide behind the hull. Bow cutting aggressive angles through blue water. Captain Rodriguez watches from Fitzgerald's bridge as the Chinese vessel eats music space between them. First pass comes hard, 300 YD off the Yuncheng, cutting across music American destroyer's path at unsafe speed. The displaced water from high-velocity transit hammers Fitzgerald's hull like artillery. Crew staggers, equipment rattles, personnel grip rails. As the ship shudders under liquid impact, Rodriguez's jaw tightens. Colg's Rule 6, violation clear as daylight, unsafe speed for conditions, 32 knots in close quarters. Maneuvering is reckless navigation. The aggressor circles back. Music engines roaring, preparing second harassment run, launch the bird. Rodriguez orders, document everything. MH-60R helicopter lifts from nearby USS Music. Carl Vincent, rotors cutting air. Camera pods activated. Aerial witness positioning above the confrontation. Recording angles, music speeds, distances, evidence building in real time. Second pass comes down Fitzgerald's port side. The frigate races parallel. Gap shrinking to 200 volleys heighted. Call Reggie's rule, 8 violation now added to the list. Failure to take action, avoiding collision risk in restricted waters. Wake turbulence, music hits harder this time. Spray reaches bridge level, saltwater coating glass. Music visibility momentarily obscured. The destroyer rocks in churned water. Crew working to maintain balance and composure. Music Rodriguez keys, international channel. Mandarin first, then English. Chinese vessel. Reduce speed immediately. You are operating at unsafe velocity in close proximity. Music to U.S. warship. Silence answers him. Ying completes turn. Music lining up third harassment run. The gray hull pivots with precision, maintaining dangerous speed throughout the maneuver. This isn't navigation error. This is tactical harassment at excessive velocity. U.S. helicopter overhead now. Camera recording every movement, time-stamping music, each violation for legal review. The bird circles, maintaining altitude, music documenting the pattern developing below. Third buzzing run begins. The Chinese warship, music. Accelerates to maximum approach speed, bow wave building as engines push harder, distance collapsing, music faster. This time, 400 YD, then rapidly converging, bearing, music down on starboard side. Yun cuts across Fitzgerald's path again, forcing the American destroyer to adjust course or accept all the music collision geometry. Rodriguez orders helm response 15 degree. Music turn, creating separation, avoiding the trap. But the frigate shadows the maneuver, maintaining dangerous proximity, deliberately matching every course change. The harassment continues through the turn. Wake impacts becoming continuous assault. Water walls slam hull rhythmically. Now each impact shudders through steel, through deck plates, through crew, trying to maintain operations under liquid bombardment. This isn't seamanship. This is weaponized navigation. Rodriguez calculates the pattern. 3 high-speed passes in 12 minutes, each at unsafe speeds, each creating collision hazards, each documented by helicopter overhead. Pattern of violations established beyond dispute. Launch second bird, he says quietly. Music, and get me the Admiral. The second MH-60R lifts off from carrier group, joining aerial documentation effort. 2 helicopters now circling the confrontation. Multiple camera angles capturing evidence that will hold up in any maritime music court. Yan lines up. Fourth approach. The Chinese captain clearly believes he can continue harassment indefinitely. That American vessel will keep evading, keep absorbing wake impacts, keep accepting music the punishment. He's wrong. Rodriguez receives encrypted transmission. Authorization codes, legal authority granted, maritime safety law invoked. As Yuncheng lines up a fourth pass, Rodriguez receives authorization. Detain under maritime safety law. Stop the harassment now. Authorization granted. Stop the harassment music through arrest action. 1,137 hours. Fitzgerald music transforms from target to interceptor in seconds. Rodriguez orders acceleration to 25 knots. Helm turning to intercept the Chinese frigate's next approach vector. The destroyer's engines, music respond. Props biting water, speed building. Yun begins fourth buzzing run, expecting same evasion pattern as before. The gray warship, music races inward at excessive velocity. Captain confident the Americans will turn aside again. They don't. Fitzgerald holds course. Music collision geometry forming deliberately this time. Two warships converging on intersecting tracks, neither yielding. Physics demanding music resolution. Range shrinking fast. 500 YD, 400, 300. The gap eating itself with mathematical precision. Chinese captain realizes the game changed. His vessel isn't being avoided anymore. It's being intercepted. Emergency deceleration ordered. Engines reversing thrust violently, props churning water backward in desperate attempt to bleed momentum, but 32 knots doesn't stop instantly. The frigate slides forward on sheer inertia. Music gap collapsing to 150 YD before speed drops enough to prevent impact. Yuncheng wallows in its own wake, engines fighting physics. Crew scrambling as music, their harassment tactic becomes survival maneuver. Rodriguez broadcasts on all frequencies. Plan vessel Yuncheng, you are detained for Colregs violations. Rule 6, unsafe speed in open waters. Rule 8, failure to avoid collision risk. Heave to immediately for music boarding. The Chinese warship attempts escape. Engines accelerate. Bow swinging toward open water, trying to run music from legal authority. U.S. helicopter drops lower. Spotlight activates despite afternoon sun. Camera pods locked music on target. Second MH-60R arrives from carrier group. Both birds now circling the frigate like mechanical vultures. Aerial blockade forming. Not music physical constraint, but psychological pressure and evidential certainty. Every movement documented. Every turn, music recorded. Escape impossible without creating additional violations on camera. Music Yun's engines throttle, down reluctantly. Speed bleeding, momentum dying. The frigate surrenders to physics and legal reality, coming to full stop in open water. Rodriguez changes tactics again. Boarding team via helicopter. Fast insertion. Maximum documentation. First MH-60R descends toward Chinese deck without requesting permission. Emergency Maritime Safety Authority invoked when vessels operate unsafely. Enforcement doesn't. Music require consent. The bird settles onto Yungen's helicopter pad. Rotors still spinning. Downwash hammering everything within 50 feet. 8 U.S. personnel disembark in 30 seconds. Lieutenant Commander Sarah Chen leads Mandarin fluent specialist in maritime music law. She identifies bridge crew immediately. 2-4 personnel, music, involved in harassment operations. Captain Executive Officer, 4-4 helm team. Engine room crew who maintained music, excessive speed despite regulations, all present, all documented, all detained, Chinese. Captain protests in rapid Mandarin. Speed was operationally necessary. Defensive maneuvers protecting sovereignty. The usual arguments. Chen pulls out ruggedized tablet. Aerial footage from both helicopters loaded and ready. Colregs rule. 6 specifies safe speed based on conditions. Captain 32 knots in close quarters. Maneuvering with another vessel is unsafe regardless of operational intent. Music. You created collision hazards deliberately 4 times, all documented from multiple angles. The footage plays. 4 distinct harassment passes shown from aerial perspective. Speed measurements overlaid. Collision geometry calculated. Wake impacts music on Fitzgerald visible. Evidence package comprehensive and damning. Second helicopter lands. Rotors adding to the noise, bringing additional personnel music and recording equipment. Fitzgerald maintains position 200 YDs off Yuncheng's beam, close enough to respond music far enough to avoid aggression. Claims. Chen announces charges for cameras in both languages. 24 planned music personnel detained for maritime safety violations under international law. Evidence includes aerial documentation of 4 high-speed harassment passes, music, at unsafe speeds creating collision hazards. Navigation logs seized from music bridge, electronic records that will show deliberate speed maintenance at 32 knots despite proximity to other vessel. Data doesn't lie. Computers, music recorded every helm order, every engine command, every tactical choice. Helicopter footage reviewed in real time on tablets. Multiple camera angles synchronized. Timestamps matching. Wake impacts, music clearly visible. Hammering U.S. destroyer. Forced course changes documented. Escalating danger pattern established beyond dispute. U.S. carrier group commander transmits notification to Chinese Naval Command. Detention music in progress. Evidence secured. Legal process beginning. No ambiguity left. Within 40 minutes, both warships' music sit motionless as diplomatic machinery grinds into motion. But the detained crew isn't music going anywhere until legal process completes. Diplomatic machinery engaged, but legal music process holds detained crew in place 15-20 hours. 24 Chinese naval personnel sit in secured compartment aboard their own vessel under U.S. guard. Music. Their ship, their deck foreign authority. Unprecedented situation, creating legal complexity that lawyers will debate for months. Official U.S. Navy statement transmits encrypted 24 pawn personnel, detained following Callregs Rule, 6 and Rule 8 violations unsafe speed, and failure to avoid collision during multiple harassment passes of U.S. vessel conducting lawful transit. China's Ministry of Defense responds within minutes, demands immediate release, claims phone-op was provocative presence justifying defensive maneuvers. Sovereignty arguments deployed like diplomatic weapons, but aerial footage undermines every claim, shows deliberate harassment pattern, not defensive response. 4 distinct passes at excessive speed, each creating collision geometry, each documented music from multiple camera angles with timestamps and speed measurements. International maritime law doesn't care about political context. Speed violations, music, are speed violations. Collision hazards are collision hazards. Rules apply equally regardless of flag or mission. U.S. helicopter remains on Music Yuncheng's deck, rotors idling, crew maintaining security presence. Fitzgerald holds station nearby, engines running, ready to respond if situation shifts. USS Carl Vinson carrier group adjusts position, moving closer but not aggressively. Support presence. Music visible on horizon. Evidence review begins immediately aboard American warship. Footage shows 4 distinct buzzing runs, aiming music each at excessive velocity, each creating wake impacts and collision geometry. Navigation logs, music. From Chinese frigate confirms speed maintenance at 32 knots throughout harassment period. Legal case stronger than previous detentions. Video evidence from multiple angles. Clear violations of specific Callregs rules. 0 ambiguity. Regional implications spread like ripples across contested waters. Other navies monitoring closely, wondering if harassment tactics just became legally actionable. Philippine Navy vessel approaches from the east, positioning for own documentation. Type 52D destroyer responding to incident, but this vessel, music, approaches at safe speed, signals proper intentions, maintains legal distance. Message received loud and clear harassment at excessive speed, now carries detention risk. Detained crew provide music statements under guard, some claim orders from higher command. Others cite operational necessity, but aerial. Footage shows tactical choice. Music, not operational requirement. Harassment was deliberate, calculated, intended. U.S. command faces strategic decision. Prosecute fully music and set precedent, or negotiate release for diplomatic solution. Hours pass while capitals debate. Sun moves across sky. Temperatures rise on metal decks. Detained personnel settle into uncertainty. Diplomatic negotiations intensify. Calls between defense ministries, naval music commands, international maritime organizations. But U.S. position holds firm violations documented, evidence secured, detention music lawful under Maritime Safety Authority, precedent forming whether anyone wants it or not. Harassment tactics, music, using excessive speed and dangerous maneuvering. Equal arrestable offenses. Future operations across region will factor this enforcement, music action, into tactical planning. Commercial shipping begins adjusting routes, avoiding area. Music where naval detention is in progress. Insurance companies calculate risk. Captains choose music longer paths rather than sail through floating legal precedent. Additional vessels continue appearing throughout music afternoon. Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force ship. Australian frigate, Indonesian corvette. Everyone positioning to document how this resolves precedent will affect future operations across entire region. Chinese diplomatic pressure continues, but evidence quality makes quick resolution impossible. Video footage, electronic logs, multiple witness accounts, legal case too strong for face-saving compromise. Detained crew completes first 12 hours in custody, then 18, then 24. Legal process grinding slowly through layers of maritime law, diplomatic protocol, evidence review, jurisdiction questions. As the first detained crew members complete 24 hours in custody, a fifth Navy arrives on scene, and all participants realize this detention just became the test case for enforcing navigation rules against music harassment tactics across contested waters worldwide. Hey, hey, hey!